Hey guys, Golfberg here with a quick heads up on today's pod. Main topic, artificial intelligence is taking over the world. Is it coming for your golf game next? These are the kind of thought-provoking questions we're breaking down today with the help of a very special guest, an innovator in the golf/AI space. Her name is Jeehae Lee, and she's the founder of Sportsbox AI, a really innovative app that does 3D swing modeling and essentially acts as like an AI golf coach. And it's going to get us really good at golf. And if that's the truth, then we got to know all about it. We got to break it down because that's the mission. Anyway, we had a fun conversation with her. She walks us through the app. We grill her a little bit on her short but exciting professional golf career. Fun times had by all. So without further ado, let's get it going. Stay plugged, everybody.
Let us heads, we are back with another edition of Please Let Us Golf, the podcast. Today you got Goldie and Golfberg getting up early in Seattle for us. How are we doing this morning, Mr. Golfberg?
Good morning, everybody. We're doing good, man.
Got the coffee going? I think our guests might be having a little coffee pod with us today, so that's good. But Golfberg, we've had a lot of guests on in the world. We talked to coaches, instructors, fitters, data guys. The decade Scott Fawcett episode blew up, going toe to toe on that. But today's focus is kind of that intersection point, right on the Venn diagram. If you're a visual person like me, kind of where there's an overlap. With a dose of a little technological advancement in the world of artificial intelligence. And to help us do that, we're going to be bringing on the founder and CEO of Sportsbox AI, which if you didn't know about them, you probably recently saw Sportsbox featured on the massive Bryson Dechambeau and Steph Curry break 50 video. I think that's like shattered YouTube videos and Instagram and TikTok, short form reshares into the hundreds of millions at this point. So we're definitely going to have to talk about that a little bit. But what is Sportsbox AI? It's an AI-powered technology company using 3D motion analysis and kinematic AI technology to assist players and coaches, providing some of the most advanced modeling, visualizations, and data-driven solutions to improve your golf game. We might collectively.
What does that even mean, man?
That's got about 1,000 questions we could dive into. So we'll see how many we can get to today.
No, this is great, man, because I'm very old school. You know that. I'm not deep in the numbers. I fight against this stuff.
You refuse. We had fitters on, and you try to tell them why fitting was a scam. So goes great.
When you grow up watching Freddie Couples, you just watch that smooth swing and go, "I'm just going to replicate it." That was my mission.
If we could all just have a cell phone, tucked on our chin, hitting one-handed wedges like Freddie, it would be an easy game. But not just Sportsbox. Before that, our guest, she was a college golfer at Yale, turned professional golfer on the LPGA Tour, and then pivoted back into the golf business world where she held key leadership roles with IMG and TopGolf prior to launching Sportsbox in 2020. So that's a lot. That's a lot to unpack there. So let us heads, without further ado, please welcome to the podcast, Jeehae Lee.
Hey guys.
Good morning.
Hi, Jeehae.
Good morning. Nice to be on here.
So I did kind of dox you a little bit. I didn't say where you were specifically, but we got the coffee pod going this morning. So it's usually a good thing, honestly, for us. We got kids, and like we try to do these things at nighttime, and it's a nightmare. Our brains aren't working, and if we're going to be talking a little AI, we need our brains on full blast. But
I feel like Jeehae comes from. I feel like you've been up for a few hours though. You've already done yoga. You've already been in like an ice bath. Like you're mentally ready to roll.
Yeah, I actually just got back from a long trip last night late, so I'm running on a few hours of sleep. So I just got to walk my dog this morning, had some breakfast, and I'm ready to roll now.
Well, it's okay. You got a built-in excuse. You're right. If you have any, brain
Yeah.
lapses, we just got a long trip. I mean, we understand that all too well. But I
Yeah.
look, we want to focus on Sportsbox and artificial intelligence and see where the conversation goes. But a little bit on your background. So I teased out. So you're at Yale. You're a dominant college golfer. We're getting into
Oh,
the
you mentioned Yale.
LPGA.
I was actually rejected from Yale. I just wanted to.
I apologize on behalf of
Fine.
the institution.
Yeah, of
We
Yeah,
course.
missed
I just
out clearly.
Yeah.
yeah, no, they definitely missed out. So give us a little bit of the look. We don't love just spending all the time on the context and background, but I think it's critical to understand the journey from you as a golfer. Because we look first and foremost, and please let us golf. We like talking about golf, so we want to know a little bit about your background, and then what's the golf game even looking like today?
Yeah, golf has been central to my life in a way that I never ever planned for, certainly. Yes, I grew up as a junior golfer, started playing when I was in Korea growing up in one of those like giant 3-story driving ranges in the middle of the city. And so I became really good early, competed in AJG events, got recruited at Yale, and played a little bit of college golf there. But never did I ever, if you were to ask me in high school, like, what do you want to be? Do you want to become like the next Sari Pack? I would have said, heck no. One, I'm not that good at golf. And two, like, there's a million things that I want to do in my life. Golf, being a professional golfer is not one of them. But, by the time I was graduating from college and I was kind of debating job opportunities, I was like, do I really, do I feel passionate about being an investment banker?
Mm.
Answer was no. I
Right.
was summer at Lehman Brothers of all places in Hong Kong back in 2005, the summer between junior and senior years. And I had no idea what I was doing. It made no sense to me. And so, I was like, I'm gonna give this a shot before I can't, banking, consulting, whatever, that stuff will always be there. So I chose to just turn pro and pursue that dream. And that got me all the way to the LPGA tour, which, again, I would have never expected myself to get that far in the game, given that I'd never even won a junior golf tournament in my life, right? I was a very mediocre
Mm.
amateur golfer, college golfer, and so just the fact that I got my card and held on to it for 3 years was like a minor miracle in itself. But it turns out, like, fast forward, I guess now 15 years since I stopped playing, I managed to keep golf pretty central to my life. It's what makes me really happy when people light up, when they talk about something they like, they're doing something they like. I light up when I talk about any aspect of golf. And so I feel really, really fortunate that I'm doing what I'm doing and feel like I'm contributing to the game in a meaningful way.
So lighten up when we talk about golf, isn't that what it's all about? So again, before we just jump into the business side, so what is golf like now in your personal day to day? Are we still getting out there getting rounds in, or do you practice at all, or do you do the travel golf scene? How's that look?
Yeah, so I stopped playing golf after my 2011 season, and turns out golf isn't the most accessible sport when you live in big cities like New York. So I just kind of put my clubs away and didn't look at it for a while. And then in 2018, my husband, my now husband, said, "Hey, I wanna try going out and playing 9 holes." I was like, okay, let's do it. And sure enough, he's become a full-on golf addict.
Good for
He
him.
thinks
Yeah,
36 holes is the minimum number of holes you should play when you go out and play.
get them on the
Um,
pod. Come on.
I know, it's I've created a total monster. And so that's what we do on weekends. We are members at a club called Lake Merced out in San Francisco or
Oh,
Daly City.
awesome. Yeah, yeah.
It's my happy place. Truly, it's I would say a hidden gem. I mean, I don't know if I can call it a hidden gem after the Bryson video, but it's truly majestic
Hmm.
and such a beautiful place to play golf, and a fun course. So that's what we do on weekends, and we go on golf trips. We're going to New Zealand at the end of the year. We
Oh,
went to
wow.
Bandon the last couple of years, and just it's what we do. So
Yeah.
So
God, that's
yeah, it's incredible. But you were on the tour for how many years? You were playing?
So I was on, what's now known as Epson Tour in
Yep.
07, 08, and then 09, 10, 11 were my years on the LPGA Tour. Brief stint on the LET, the Ladies European Tour in 2010.
Was it competitive? Were you feeling pretty good out there? Did you have a good run for a little bit?
No.
Or no, it was just all right. It's just a
Does
total grind.
anybody
I don't know.
does,
Yeah.
does anybody feel good about how they're playing at any given moment?
yeah.
I feel good right
Um,
now, but I hear you. Now you're
okay,
putting
good.
doubt into my head.
No. Yeah. He, like literally when he says now, he means as of 2 days ago, and then
Yeah,
by
I
tomorrow I'll
got
be
a
getting
good
the
Yeah, you
text
never
of
know.
it's all gone to
Yeah,
shit.
I mean, that's kind of getting to like why I wanted to do Sportsbox and create the products that we did is like you feel like you have almost no control over whether you're going to hit the ball well or not that day, even though you feel like you're doing the exact same thing, day over day. So, but I mean, it was cool. I felt really lucky to
Yeah.
be out there every day. It's just I had one too many missed 3-footers on 18th hole on Friday to miss a cut by one, and it was just like the emotional toll that it takes on you.
What
It's
was
just
your
crazy.
best tourney though?
Well, LPGA Tour, there's not much that I can speak about. I mean,
Okay.
made a few cuts at
That's
at a
good.
couple majors, but
That's awesome.
and by 2011, I think I made like half the cuts that I played in, but
So you just had to keep going.
LET, yeah, I was definitely on a kind
Right.
of a trajectory. And on the LET in 2010, I had a handful of top fives and a bunch of top 10. So, yeah, I mean, that was a great experience, just kind of seeing myself playing in the final group on a few final rounds and feeling like I was contending. That was a really cool experience. I just, to this day, I like it brings tears to my eyes when I think about, you know, what would it have been like to have actually won, right? Like that's the thing that kind of keeps me awake. So
Well, that's what keeps every golfer going, though, too, right? And even on the amateur side, just always chasing that one accolade that could just keep us going. But you you mentioned being in the city and putting the clubs away. I was just in New York City on a trip with my wife, and I hadn't been there since like probably 10, 11 years prior. And of course, I'm pulling up. It was a non-golf related trip for the first time in forever. And I'm pulling up Google Maps, just seeing like in Manhattan, what is the golf scene even looking like? And it is crazy because there's like one cool hipster retail double decker store, but then the proliferation of, I guess, technology in golf in terms of the 5-iron golfs and all those kind of pop up simulators. So I'm assuming in the major cities that is a cornerstone of how you can kind of keep golf going or growing in those major metropolitan areas. But so let's pivot into Sportsbox. So me personally, I think I saw my first time, like Bryson was talking about it at the U.S. Open, and he had his coach out there, and Bryson, he's a character, and he's going into details, and it seemed interesting. But then, of course, it's not to devalue your guys' work over the last 4 years. I've certainly seen it, but I think a lot of people got exposed to it again with the recent, we mentioned in the intro, the Bryson Steph Curry break 50 video. So I guess one, I'm curious of the relationship with Bryson and Sportsbox, and then two, I do want to just get into the bare bones of, okay, for somebody that doesn't know anything about Sportsbox, what do they need to know?
yeah, I love the Bryson story. It's I still, as I tell it every time, I can't believe it actually happened the way it did. But let me start with Sportsbox. So what we're able to do, just very simply, I'm not going to get into the technology portion, but it allows you to take a video on your phone and get data on how the different parts of your body are moving in inches and degrees kind of details. And I kind of related to, hey, 20 years ago, we were looking at ball flight and being like, oh, that looked like it went a little further. We're like, oh, that launched a little bit higher, but I don't know how much. But now we have launch monitors, and I can't imagine getting a lesson or getting a fitting without the details of, okay, was my face a path or path? Like, was that how I wanted it to be? Was it exactly the number that I wanted to hit? Like, that is just part of how we improve our game. And it's because, generally speaking, if you want to improve anything in life, you have to start by measuring it. You want to lose weight? What do you weigh now? You want to gain muscle? What's your percentage, body fat, whatever it is. Like, you have to put a number to it so that you can quantify the improvement. Why are we trying to improve a golf swing without measuring any part of it? Just seems crazy now that I know what's available. Is like, hey, you need to get shallower. Okay, what does that actually mean? Like, by how much? What body part needs to be shallower, at a different angle? Do you need to get deeper? Well, what does that mean? Do you need to turn more with your upper body, lower body? By how many degrees? Like, and Sportsbox allows you to do that, put a number to it so that you can actually track it and measure it and quantify your improvement in a really easy way, just with your phone. So yeah, I mean, just AI, all this talk aside, that is just core to the value that we want to bring to golfers and coaches and fitters out there, is just quantifying your movement.
So what do you, okay, so maybe we try to occasionally do like, okay, a Senex position. What would a counter punch be? So the ease of use looks, I mean, I've messed around with it myself, and it is very easy to use. But with like, again, if you look at advanced training aids or any technology breakthroughs, one concern I've always had is it more for the individual, or is it more for, uh, a tool for a coach, or a tool for the industry to get more intelligent on how to coach and how to fit and how to do what to look at? Because I guess I could argue some of the pitfalls of an individual getting data overload of, okay, my I swayed 3.5 degrees and I need to, like, so do you need a watchful eye of what they should be focused on, or is that some of the technology on the back end that kind of helps synthesize the information if you're going to be using the product on your own?
Yeah, it's actually all of the above, but the use case that I started out with was, look, I've taken thousands of hours of lessons from really great coaches. And when I'm in a lesson, it's great. There's a pair of eyes, really expert eyes telling me, okay, that was good, that was bad, more of this, more of that. And you're like, okay, okay. And in that period of time, you just kind of iterate really quickly to an optimal, move that you want to get to. And then you go on, spend time on the range on your own or go out and play. And you're like, wait, was that right? Is that how I was supposed to do it? And then you hit a funny shot. You're like, wait, was it because I didn't do that thing? Or was it just a bad shot? Like, and then you go on this like spiral, and then you come back to what's comfortable to you, and you have made no change. And that's the gap we wanted to fill. It's I think this day and age, there's information on how to do something correctly is abundant. It's free. You can go on YouTube and get like a million hours of videos on how to fix a slice, right? Or how to hit it longer. Information is abundant. That doesn't make you better. What makes you better is actually being able to practice the reps with feedback on whether you did it right, did it wrong, whatever. And so it kind of closes the gap between coaching and learning in a way that's never been possible before. It combines those two things. So it makes a coach better, and it makes a golfer better.
No, that makes a ton of sense. So what about the application where you're on your own and you have it model out your swing and it's showing you some different things? Like, how does the system know where to start?
Yeah.
Right?
So
How do you prioritize things?
yeah, so that was the use case I started with. However, where we have evolved to is there's plenty of self-guided experiences within the app where you can get a little bit of understanding of what is an ideal way to. I shouldn't say that. There's no one ideal way to swing the club.
Right.
There are fundamentals in the golf swing that we call just 100% truths among all good golfers. So, for example, 100% of golfers who are any good at the game get to impact position where the lower body is more open to the target than the upper body, right? If your upper body's more open, you can't, I mean, you're probably coming way over the top and doing all sorts of things. So that's 100% truth. And so we are able to deliver that in a way that's quantifiable so you can act on it. And we can identify if you're not doing those things. We're not trying to guide you into, you need to swing like, ideal swing A, like Rory McIlroy, because I don't care how many times you show me that data, I can't do it. But we're trying to give you, quantify what is 100% fundamental truth and, help you correct yourself.
See, that's a fun and kind of like could be an exciting point because you see these swings. Like Bryson wins the U.S. Open last year, and my dad calls me and he's like, "I'm figuring Bryson swings incredible. I'm going to start doing X, Y, and Z to kind of look more like him." My dad, you're going to kill yourself. First of all, no one should try to swing like Bryson, but there are clearly things Bryson does in his swing that are just fundamentally perfect, at a whole other level. And it's like the skeleton 3D modeling. It could kind of just show you, look, don't lift up your right foot on your backswing and try to swing to here. But what Bryson does really well is, like you said, he creates that torque or a differential, and it kind of just like gives you something reasonable to focus on. Is that a fair point?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's right. And I think the other point is if you do, and this is a little for a little more advanced golfers in the audience, but I think the power in the data is that if you know what your swing numbers should be, like if there are certain things that make you swing your best. So if you're, if Aaron, if you're playing really good right now, you should be recording swings on Sportsbox and getting to know your numbers, because inevitably in a week's time or a month's time, that swing's not going to feel the same. And you're going to be like, what changed?
Damn.
And you're going to have like no idea where to start. But if you can go back to your Sportsbox numbers, you'd be like, oh, okay, that was what's different. Let me work on that. And it quantifies that gap and maybe not eliminate completely the search needed, but it definitely shortens the time that's needed to search for that right swing, like get back to that swing.
So that's, it's funny, like as you're talking, I'm thinking through my personal lens of golf, of application. And one thing with doing Please Let Us Golf and doing a lot of filming while we're on a golf course now, it's, you see your swing through like 3-month increments. And I'm like, oh, I was playing good in June. And then we go on a trip in, whatever, August or September. And I'm like, oh, I didn't play good. And then you literally look at it and just visually you're like, oh, wow. Just over time, I slowly got to this position on my takeaway or whatever. But that is where I guess the use case going back, if you're doing checkpoints and you kind of have a baseline of, this is what good looks like for you, and now you're not playing good, at least it gives you something to go, okay, what is off? But it goes, so what about accuracy? Like how accurate is that feedback going to be if we're using a cell phone capturing it? So, on one hand, I feel like it's a stupid question because I don't expect you to go, oh, it's inaccurate, don't use it. But I guess a more refined question of, what's that kind of looked like to ensure accuracy, and how you've gotten to the point of the product where it's at today?
Yeah. So we, our chief science officer is a gentleman named Dr. Phil Cheatham, and he's widely known as kind of the godfather of 3D in golf and other sports. And in fact, he was the director of sports science and technology at the U.S. Olympic team, working with literally U.S. Olympic athletes on their 3D biomechanics. And he invented a system called AMM 20 plus years ago, which is an electromagnetic sensor-based system where you have to kind of, you've seen the TPI stuff, right? So that his technology is what TPI is still using currently.
Okay. When
you watch like the TPI assessment videos on YouTube, like they've got get strapped up and all that stuff. They look like, crazy person. That's his system. It's because it is the gold standard for accuracy. And we compare ourselves to AMM, almost on a monthly basis to see how we're tracking. And we're within, and I'm going to caveat this a little bit because true accuracy is really, really hard to define. Just like TrackMan isn't truly accurate, Foresight isn't truly accurate unless you're literally following the ball every single, frame of the like neither system is perfectly accurate. It's just how do they compare to each other is what we're talking about, right? So AMM isn't perfectly accurate. It's the only way to truly accurately measure the motion is if you bolt like a metal rod into the joint centers of everywhere in the body. Like that's the only way to get real accuracy.
Well, Jeehae,
However,
if we really care about getting good at golf, I think we need to have some volunteers to Frankenstein this thing up and see.
Yeah, that's really the only way. But we do talk about equivalency, right? How does one system compare to the other in terms of the absolute numbers that differ? And we're within 3 degrees of turn numbers throughout the entire swing, different than AMM. But what's more important to talk about is not equivalency necessarily, but the consistency within the system, meaning if you're getting a 45-degree number versus 42-degree number, swing over swing, is that because the motion was different or because the system was measuring it differently? And we can 100% confidently say that our consistency is equivalent to AMM's. The kind of the variance in the data that we're seeing is exactly the same, nearly the same as AMM. And so you can trust that the data that when it shows like a half an inch difference or whatever, that is because you actually made a different move.
It sounds kind of interesting, and I don't know if the system is set up for this, but like Andrew's describing, you have a good swing thought, you're playing well, random things happen during a round. Like, could you record every full shot swing in a round and then just kind of go, I know what happened, then look back and go, I kind of pulled that drive on 7, and I look back at that, so, oh, this is why I had this. I brought my left elbow way back in for some reason on my phone. Do you know where I'm going with that? Like, is there any
100%.
kind of application for that?
So it's a great segue to the Bryson story now.
Oh, okay.
Cool. 2 weeks before the US Open last year, Bryson's coach, Dana Dahlquist, called us and was like, look, Bryson's struggling a little bit with his drives. Like he doesn't feel that confident going into the US Open. He is battling this kind of peel cut right shot when all he wants to do is hit high draws, right? And so can you go help him? And I talked to Bryson. He was like, look,
you should have been like, you can't hit draws at Oakmont, Bryson. Get that out of your head. Number one.
Pinehurst, right?
This is the Pinehurst.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was like, look, I hit 9 out of 10 shots how I want. And then like the one random shot, it goes to the right. And someone needs to just tell me exactly what's going on in my swing when I do that. And yes, my coach has an opinion on this, and I have an opinion on this, but I want to know by data exactly what's different. We're like, okay, cool, let's do it. And we captured hundreds of his swings on the range. We followed him on the golf course. I captured every shot, and we had the GC Quad data to correspond with every swing. So we knew exactly what his body did, exactly how the ball flew for hundreds of his swings, which gave us a great database to go and do some analysis on. And sure enough, it showed that there were 3 things in his swing, 3 metrics that were highly, highly, highly correlated with the spin axis being positive, which is a fade for him, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, we got to that analysis by Tuesday of the US Open week. And here I was, me at Pinehurst on the range. And I was like, all right, Bryson, this is what you're going to do.
Gee, hey, that's incredible work. That must have been fun.
How crazy is that? And I mean, imagine being me at Pinehurst being like, I have this information about Bryson's golf swing.
Yeah.
Do I tell this man Tuesday of US Open week how to change his swing?
Yeah.
Did you?
The decision.
This is like the Big Short, like going into the boardroom telling everybody that the market's about to crash, and it's the person that's got to deliver the information. Like you're going to make massive change here.
Yeah, and I was talking to Jibo, his caddy, in the whatever the dining, and I was like, Jibo, do I tell him this? And he's like, yes, more data, the better.
He's
Go
a
tell
data
him
guy,
right now.
He
totally.
is a dad.
Yeah, and
Yeah, if
so I
anybody can
told him, he
handle
was
that,
like,
it's him.
and Bryson was like, okay,
Bryson, you're
okay,
hitting
I
the
get
ball
it.
off the wrong dimple. We
Oh,
got
yeah.
to rotate that
Well,
ball a degree.
and what's crazy too, and we could talk as much as you want on this story. His short game was phenomenal at Pinehurst, but he won that tournament because he hit draws all day off the tee with the driver. Because so these guys think I'm crazy, but I'm always right. Having played Pinehurst a lot, and I had played it right before that. I told them, I was like, dude, if you're going to miss fairways there, it's not a secret. You want to be as far down as possible because the greens are so difficult to hit. But hitting out of those sandy areas, especially for a pro, but it was not difficult at all as long as you didn't get caught in the native grass, the little wire brush, right? And it was evident to me after 2 rounds, these guys were hitting peeler cuts or just their stock cuts were hitting really soft and nestling consistently right up to those wire brush grass. But then the guys that were hitting kind of ropey draws or knuckle draws, they had much more opportunity to get a little deeper in and then run through. So they wouldn't just stop when they were hitting that bush. They would one hop. And you saw Bryson the entire week. Everyone's like, oh, he's getting lucky. I was like, I don't think it's luck. I think it's just kind of the physics of the ball's got enough heat to where when it hits that, it's just bouncing off of it versus just nestling in it. And so, I
Mm.
mean, Jeehae, you may have won the
I
U.S.
mean,
Open for
I
Bryson
wouldn't go that
DeChambeau.
far, but
You had a
I will say,
significant impact.
I will say, like, once he had this information, and we were using Sportsbox on the range
Mm-hmm.
to make sure those numbers were getting into the ranges that we wanted to be, like the nice draw swing pattern,
Mm-hmm.
range. By Wednesday afternoon, he went out and played 9, and I swear he almost dunked it twice, like on the 2 par 3s, and he was like, "Oh my god, this is like
Agreed.
my 58 swing." Like he
Mm-hmm.
shot 58 prior year at Greenbrier, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
"I've been searching for that swing, and I feel like that this is my swing." And I was like, "Okay, good, good, good. Don't miss the cut."
Yeah.
I was
Don't.
like,
Yeah, please do.
I'm like, please, like one good round, and sure enough, he went out and I mean, his stats on Thursday were crazy. I think he had like 75% fairways and like 80% greens or something insane
Yeah.
at Pinehurst. And so yeah, I think part of it is knowing exactly what to kind of get into the right numbers, but also his brain being assured that he had the thing,
Yeah,
like
probably for
he
how
just
he
felt.
works, that probably frees him up of just saying like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
trust this now."
Were you
Yeah. So
working?
going back to what you were asking, like, can you like follow people around? That's what we call Sportsbox Tour Program. So we've been working with a few other players out there where they're asking, hey, my best year on tour was 2020, let's say. I feel like I was hitting it great, and now it doesn't feel the same. Can you tell me what's the difference? And we're able to provide that as long as we have data, videos from 2020. And one other particular player, Michael Kim, who actually had a very strong end of the season this year.
Yeah.
He works with Sean Foley, and we got him on the range and on the golf course in Memphis on Wednesday, and we provided the analysis for what was different. What was he doing on the range that was different from the golf course? Which Sean was like, yeah, there's something there, like some weird thing happens out there. Like, can you tell us what's different? And we were able to identify exactly
What
what it
was it?
was.
No, that's interesting
Um,
though. What was it?
yeah, I
Like
forget
not
exactly what the data was, but there was something to how he was lifting. Like his lift numbers were very different.
Mm.
yeah.
Maybe he was coming out of it a little bit. There was something there that was like actually statistically significant for us to zero in on. And Sean was like, that's what I've been kind of um, working on with him, and it's great to see that the data matches up with the hypothesis.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Because something happens when you get on the golf course. You don't even know, but the mind changes, the pressure changes, and all of a sudden you're doing shit you just don't do on the range. So
Most
that
people, I will say, there's a one of our advisors actually did an experiment on his own where he said during his club championship, he got the golf course to set up 3 of the par 5s in different levels of difficulty in terms of the pin placement. And then he also measured people during their warm up on the range and saw how their swing differed in these different situations. By and large, I mean, it depends on what kind of pattern golfer you are, but most amateur golfers get shorter, they turn less, and their tempo changes. That's like the biggest common difference between
They
the
probably
range and
did
on
they
the golf
speed
course.
up? They probably speed up.
They get shorter and they don't make a
just
full turn,
right.
and they kind of rush the transition, and that's like a very common flaw.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, is right before you said that, I said, I kind of wish that maybe golf psychologists would say that this is not good, but for my brain, I think it would be like my disaster moments on the 17th tee where I do everything basically you just described, where you got the alligator arm move and the mega block cut, 50 yards right out of bounds. I would like to know, like physically what you are doing that results in it. Now I know mentally, like there's these other factors, you get nervy, you get whatever, you short arm it, you're quick, like Aaron said. And I understand that will produce it, but it would be cool to see, like, I wish I could go back and be like, every time I've blown up with that shot, I would like to know, because it's probably the exact physical move every single
Same
time.
thing every time. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Jeehae, this is totally nothing to do with AI. I've got a new strategy I'm using. I've done it 3
Okay.
rounds in a row. Trying to find like why are you sometimes better on the range? Why do you lose it on the course? I'm doing 0 practice swings now. Now for context, I'm a 2 handicap. I've been a plus for a moment. That's my zone though. I'm just a good low handicap. I'm convinced that when you do practice swings, all you do is start judging your swing. That's literally the only outcome that can come from a practice swing. Did that feel right? Was it inset? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know how to golf. Just get up there and think about the shot and hit the shot. And I'm wondering if it kind of removes some of those mental barriers we put up. And
he said it's not about AI, but we could probably pivot into, we need some AI mental health coaches for us when we're out on the golf course. So
I think I'm leading a revolution with this no practice swing thing. Actually.
I mean, my husband also does no practice swing, and he definitely overachieves for the kind of swing he has. He's like a solid 7, and if you look at his golf swing, I have like a mini heart attack every time he swings, because he looks like he's gonna, pull something at least, and break something at worst every time he swings.
Well, yeah, okay. That's as funny as that is there any like injury risk feedback that that Sportsbox could provide to a player of like, hey, this is definitely a no move. You got back risk, wrist risk, whatever it might be.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not built into the product quite yet, but we do have an injury report that we could put together for tour players. There are a few things. One is like the Wakaneeman, like super side bendy through impact. There's a number above which we would flag that as a injury risk. If you're side bending more than like 60 degrees through follow, right after impact, that's a pretty that's a steep move. And then there's also at the top of your backswing, if you have kind of like an overextension and you kind of like reverse pivot or like reverse side bend kind of situation, that also puts a lot of pressure on your low back. And so that's another one that we would flag. And then another one is we have something called gain factors. So you can think about it as like smash factor, which is, how the energy transfers from the club head to the ball, right? It's the ball speed divided by club head speed. And we have that ratio for the kinematic chain, which is, you start with your pelvis turn, right? Like how fast can you move your pelvis turn, and how much of that energy transfer to your upper body? So like your chest turn. And then how does your chest turn translate into arm speed? How does your arm speed then whip into the club, right? That's kind of the kinematic sequence. And there's that gain factor from pelvis to chest, which is your core gain factor. Chest to arm is your shoulder gain factor. Arm to club is your wrist gain factor. And if those things are out of balance, so if you're like super overly wristy player, mean, wrist is a pretty small like segment. Like if you're putting a lot of pressure to generate speed just with your wrist, we would probably flag that as a risk.
Was Steph Curry's flagged? I thought, wasn't he talking about that? He generates a
Yeah.
ton of power with that wrist flick, just shooting
Yeah.
threes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, we would probably flag that as like, hey, you might want to strengthen other parts of your body instead of purely relying on this, because this is also a less, I guess, people with a high risk gain factor and high speed, they tend to have more dispersion. Which I mean, obviously, in that video, Steph hit it phenomenally,
Yeah.
but like just as a general overarching theme, like super risky players like Phil Mickelson is a great example. Cameron Champ will be another great example. Just they tend to have a little more dispersion.
I'm going through like as you were naming guys, I'm going just people I've played with and then looking at through professional ranks. And that's kind of a common theme that when they got it, but it's a reliance on a timing factor. And then, yeah, it kind of makes sense. It's a pretty small piece of the body. Okay. So what about with, like using it, we talked about for professionals, like how much is this getting into like assisting a player potentially with like course strategy? Hey, I know this might be wild. I'm going to Bandon Dunes. I'm going to Pack Dunes. It knows the course layout. It knows my tendencies. Can it almost give you like a predictive strategy plan of what, how to go attack it?
Yeah, we haven't quite gotten there yet because we haven't synced up with like an on-course GPS type of app. I think that'll be a really interesting partnership,
Mm-hmm.
is if you're able to kind of, if you have Sportsbox data during your warm-up or even like on the golf course and you track your stats and on a GPS app, like we can kind of start correlating. Like you have this tendency, this is showing up more today on your warm up, like it's coming through a little bit more, like maybe you need to guard against that while you play today.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's not far in the future.
As a former Epson Tour player, we actually we broke a story. No, we were just referencing something we read months ago. Did you hear how they started allowing what they're calling, I guess, digital caddies? I mean, essentially robot caddies. So on the tour, because the idea was that a lot of these players can't afford to pay their caddy anyway. They're not winning enough. A lot of them are having like their dad or like their brother carry the bag. And so they came out this idea. It was just basically it's digital push carts that they're now allowing these players to use so that they're not using caddy and they have, it's like control that knows where they are. But who knows? Maybe there's
Oh my
we get
gosh,
sports box. Go what?
I have PTSD from my experience using one of those things. I used them a little bit when I was on the European tour.
Okay.
And they're great. They carry the bag for you. And I'm sure the technology's come a long way since I was using in 2010.
It's about 150-ish.
It has like a little button to tap on and it kind of goes. And
wow.
you can like dial up or down for speed. There was an incident at the French Open in 2010. It was raining, so I had my umbrella, and then my bag was on the thing, and it was going. And then on par 3, I parked it behind the green. There was water hazard on the left, and I stick my umbrella into the bag, and I go to mark my ball, and I just hear like the screaming. It's like, oh my God. And this bag is swan diving into the lake, like off the ledge into the lake.
Yes.
So you gotta take a control of those caddies.
I think they've come along because they're calling them AI caddies now, basically. And so these things are totally legit. And just imagine it's following you around the course and it knows exactly where you are. It knows what club to give you. It just recorded your last swing. And it's like your risk differential was a little off.
Well, that's got to be cheating.
That's the dream. Aaron, you're definitely onto something.
Well, hey, he might be onto something, but also you don't know his full background. Anything to eliminate caddies from the game of golf. He's got the caddy community on us, and I'm the one always having to take the pro caddy stand. So he's really pushing just the elimination.
All caddies matter. All caddies matter.
I think I'd meet you halfway and say, yeah, they some of them do. But no, that's great. What else do we want? So
I
what
just,
about the?
yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
no, you got it. Fire away.
No, I was just going to make an overall. I get confused about AI sometimes. I think a lot of people do. Everything has AI in it. It's like, what is
Yeah.
that? I don't get what it actually means. Where I'm gathering, talking to you more, it's like pros used to be the only people who could get this kind of data, and it required a bunch of cameras and a whole crew and a ton of analysis. And we're just getting closer and closer to this point where, like, literally from your phone, you can hook this thing and up, have some really professional, cool data. That's just, I think that's the point. Like, things are just happening so much quicker and so much easier now.
Well,
And
and I
so
think too, you're capturing so much data. It's just giving the reference points to make it, I guess, the barrier entry to get in. It's more practical for an individual user because it's like, oh, you could probably, I'm assuming, plug in. Here's your body type. Here's your height. Here's your gender. Here's my handicap, and you could curate data of, okay, this is what we should be seeing, and you're getting these ranges. It makes a lot of sense. I guess I still go back to um, how much of it is really like again, coaches and beyond and lessons definitely can see how, like, if you're not using it, you're missing the boat. Like you said, I can't imagine just going to a club pro and getting just here's some shaft lean. I'm gonna put down a stick. Yeah, just you're open. Like, yeah, we got to be using the tools. But I do wonder the golfer's journey. Like, we're obviously golf obsessed on our own journey. So me, I'd love to have a lesson, get those foundational figures, and then, to your point, instead of just grinding at the range and, like, you have a bad day and you're like, oh my God, why can't I do this without coach so and so with me? That reference point seems awesome to me. I still go, like, maybe golfers are the problem of how many, 15, 20 handicappers. Like, do you actually want to get better? To your point, like, you don't measure anything. You just go fireballs at the range. Oh, that one felt good. So we're ready to go play. But
and
yeah,
maybe,
I
yeah,
do.
they don't.
Yeah, maybe it's
But
the culture of the golfer that needs to change more so than anything else.
Not so. I think one thing that that we like to differentiate is, like, not everybody wants to get better. I mean, everyone wants to get better, but it's not the top priority for everyone when it comes to golf. Some people just want to go out and have fun.
Yeah.
And so, but for the people for whom, if you ask them, like, what's the most important thing for you in golf, is like, I want to get better. I want to be the best golfer that I can be. Like,
Yeah.
there's a much better solution and a tool for you to do that through.
I literally get mad at Andrew because we'll play for rounds in a row. We're in different parts of the country when we get together, and I'll realize something's wrong. And I'm like, I know you could tell looking at my swing. You don't. Why don't you just say something? And I'm the kind of person who will tell my friends, like, what I think I'm noticing, and that's a whole other discussion if
Yeah,
that's
let's
appropriate.
do it. Hey, like, it comes up all the time, unsolicited golf advice. Let's go down
But
that rabbit hole.
But imagine you're just tracking this thing and you can figure out really quickly, hey, your position is starting to slide backwards. Like, what are you doing? Which is
Right.
now you're a little open and that's where everything's kind of going right or whatever it is. It's like picking up on these little, just having someone clocking you just a little more regularly to get you back to base
Yeah.
that would make my life easier, I
Yeah, and I
guess.
wonder too, like, I'm not in your marketing team, obviously, but I do wonder, like, I'm trying to still crack this code in my head of the application for the regular Joe Blow.
I just
And
named it.
you did, but I think there's, like, and you might go, hey, this exists, so shut up. So but, like, almost like a game plan of, okay, when you go out, you don't need to go record 50 swings. Like, yeah, a couple baselines at the range. We want 3 drives, 3 7-irons, 3 wedges. And then when you're on the course, yeah, predetermine here's a couple videos that I want to take, and get a sample size of your game over a period of time. And then instead of it, I guess I've backed out on a lot of things, like, this is an overwhelming amount of stuff to do. So it's almost like, humans just need, hey, here's your plan. Here's your curated, this is what we want you to do. And I think if it's a digestible amount, you really could start, getting I keep going back to, like, the father, you mentioned your dad, Aaron, and, like, my father-in-law. These are avid golfers. And I know that's an older clientele, but even guys I play with, most of our group is all scratch and plus handicaps. And there's so many that they just will not, they'll play 4 days a week and they'll have the conversation we're having. And I think I'm just a little outside, or, like, I'm bowing a little bit extra at the top, or, I'm late, whatever it is. But the tool seems to exist. I'm just trying to think of the best way of how do I do the sales pitch to them that they should
Yeah.
spend a little bit of time of recording it and believing it and then taking action.
Yeah, there's certainly a barrier for the average golfer to get into it without a coach initiating them into it, for sure. And that's the thing that our product team spends every day, trying to crack is how do we make it as easy as possible to get one piece of data? It doesn't have to be all 2,500 things that we
Right.
measure, but one thing to land with the golfer as like the thing that matters to them. How do we shorten that process? How do we make it easier? And it's not the easiest thing. There's definitely a little bit of an investment that's
Well,
needed.
yeah, and I think golfer expectations are, a huge problem too, right? Of
Yeah.
what does good look like? So, and Aaron and I, before we went live, we talked about this too. Of, um, it's like obviously we see the technology and the value, but holistically as a golfer, there's a lot of things that are going to result in, you said, what do you want to get out of it? Hey, if you want to eliminate something that's going on in your swing or get more confidence in an iron strike pattern, this is a very, very good tool to do that. But of course, like anything else, you got to learn how to get the ball in the hole. You got to learn how to go play golf and manage your game. You got to be able to putt. You got to hit all these shots. So that's another thing. Like I've always struggled when we talk to anybody who's just passionate in their discipline, because of course you're going to be passionate in your discipline. But as a guy out in the wild, it's like, yeah, you got to pick your battles of what do you want to focus on? And it might be an annualized thing of, okay, this year I want to really be technically focused on some elements of my full golf swing and body movement and all of that. But then again, finite time, sport consumes a lot of your personal bandwidth. So yeah, it's kind of like the fight of what is the most important thing to focus on as a golfer. Again, I'm the king of just talking and not asking a question. I apologize in that, but I like doing run on thoughts. Like I said, I like it to be conversational versus just a Q&A. Give you some
Yeah.
insight into where my brain is ticking on it.
No, I think there's a lot that a golfer needs to work on, and that's what makes the game so hard, but also so awesome,
What makes it
right?
the
Like,
best.
yeah,
You can't fake it. There is
Nope.
no, you can't just be
yeah.
blessed. You got to work. There's no getting around it.
I think you need to do both. You have to
Yeah.
work hard and you have to be blessed to
Yeah.
put a good round
To
together.
be good. Yeah.
But what I will say is I'm big on just really getting like having ownership of your own game versus, I see too many junior golfers and players, like as soon as something goes wrong, they're like sending a video to their coach and be like, oh my God, what's wrong with my swing? And that's like abdicating ownership to somebody else. It's like, fix me,
Yeah.
And I'm really big on like, know your swing, like know what makes you tick, and that'll help you play better, more consistently.
And I think that's a cool movement over the last couple of years. I was worried in the like 2010s to, I don't know, call it 21, 22. A lot of the coaching direction, you started, I don't want to say keeping up with the Joneses, but people, some of the kind of like historical wisdom got upended through TrackMan data and all that of, okay, this is how you actually hit a draw. This is okay, you're actually looking for less spin here, more, whatever it might be. But you do see like a lot of template instruction, and then a lot of people get on YouTube. And again, a great resource of information. But then for 2-3 years, everybody's at the range bowing their wrist because they think they're going to be Dustin Johnson or something like that. So I do think a movement of kind of that independent look of like, hey, like learn how to swing your swing. The best golf advice I ever had, I've literally had one formal golf lesson in my life, is with Andrew Rice out at in Savannah, Georgia here, and he's very data centric. But he kept reinforcing like, you are the golfer you are. Your
Mhm.
body moves in this way, that is resulting in these numbers. So now we're just working within that platform of where can you reasonably improve, as opposed to, like you said, wholesale, I'm chasing this swing of somebody who they're 4 inches taller than me. They're an upper core guy or a lower core gal. It's just so I think this is a pretty interesting way of maybe putting some of that power back into the individual's hands.
100%.
It's your AI golf therapist.
That's right.
I would do anything for that. You said your husband was a 7 handicap. you had a break from golf, you're back to playing, but you're playing a good bit now. It sounds like. What are you just you taking them down pretty consistently? How many shots aside are you giving them?
I mean, the thing with 7 handicaps versus I play off of a
They're
plus
dangerous.
0.2 or plus 0.3 is like they can have a good round, but they can also have a really bad round.
Yeah.
So he could shoot. I think his best round ever said was like 76, but he can also go out there and shoot like 85 plus, right? And so on an average day, I'm probably giving him, 6.
Yeah, 3 aside sounds fair.
Around. Yeah. And winning, I don't know, 7 out of 10 times that way. So
sounds like a perfect setup. We've talked about it ad nauseum here. The 7 to 10 handicaps when you're around scratch, it's very dangerous because it's the floor ceiling thing. But yeah, it's like it doesn't take a lot for them to just sneak a 79 in there, and then you're like, oh, I played okay today, but I hit one ball out of bounds and shot 75, and I'm
so
deep.
I'll give you a really good example. Yeah. Is we went to Hawaii with Lydia Ko and her husband June. We go on golf trips now and then, and Lydia and I team up, and then the boys team up. And Lydia gives a lot of strokes, like a lot of strokes. I can't even count how many strokes she's giving. And that day, Lydia shot 9 under. And I had a very bad round, but my husband shot lights out. I mean, he played so good that they almost tied us with Lydia shooting 9 under.
God, handicaps are so dumb.
A million strokes.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
So it could be, I mean, he's dangerous. He's a great partner.
It just makes people who suck feel better about themselves. I don't know why we do this. It should be, no, you got destroyed today. You didn't stand a chance. But by the way, if you need extra couples for couples golf trips, Goldie and I are totally available if you don't mind us.
I'll keep that in mind.
It's our favorite thing to do.
It literally is our favorite thing to do. But all right, Mr. Golfberg, anything else?
No, this was fun though. Really interesting. Yeah.
No, one of the best perks of being 100% independent is we just get to choose who we want to talk to, and we always get the question of the hows and the whys. Every time we have a guest, somebody goes, "Well, how'd you talk to them? How'd you get hooked up with them?" But really, our benchmark is we just come across interesting stuff and go like, hey, we got to figure out a way to have a conversation with that person. And you definitely met that criteria and brought it today. So we really, really appreciate the time.
Yeah, really appreciate being on here. And it's a really fun conversation. Last thing I'll say is, if you guys haven't seen it yet, we have a swing roast feature in the app.
God, I can't believe we didn't get to that. I'll have to maybe cut that into the earlier segment. But yeah, okay.
100%.
Tell us about the swing roast.
We need to roast yours. You can just upload your swing and then click on swing roast, and it'll give you a little lighthearted jab at your swing. So I think we should cut that into the segment.
See, it is a therapist. AI Sportsbox. It's the mirror on your golf life. Like, don't be scared.
Yeah, no,
get into it.
Yeah, we'll cut it in. And then also like down the road, if you guys ever get like a version that can be like really hardcore, that doesn't go to the public, that can really just eviscerate you, just let me know. I'd love to be a volunteer on that too. I'm a glutton for punishment.
Well, keep that in mind.
That's
hire Nikki Glazer or something to handle it.
Yeah, to just come roast it. That would be okay. Look,
we have too many good ideas.
We give a lot of good free ideas, and we get done. We're like, shit, God, we should have holstered that one for ourselves. But no, all good. All right, lettuce heads for Goldie, for Golfberg, for Sportsbox AI. We will see you next week, and most importantly, stay plugged.
Bye.
Peace.